최고!
Hello once again, my chickadees. Game & Chick is back once again with the biggest and longest review I've ever done. Before we get started into this behemoth, I'd like to give a big thank you to Square-Enix for providing me with a review copy of Endwalker in order to make this review possible. Thank you so much. And so now with that having been said, let's go! HEAVENSWARD. After resurrecting Final Fantasy XIV from its grave with A Realm Reborn, Square-Enix looked to continue their streak here with HEAVENSWARD. A daunting task for sure, but I feel they far exceeded people's expectations for this one, mainly in the story department. Picking up where we last left off with the Warrior of Light and Alphinaud being forced to flee to Ishgard to seek refuge due to being framed for a crime they didn't commit. But little did they know, their journey leads not only to the discovery of their framing, but also uncovers way more than either bargained for. To be honest, I'm a little miffed at this, at least I was at the time. You see, as a 1.0 player, at this tenure in our lives, we've been wanting to get inside Ishgard for roughly 5 years at this point, and instead have been subjected to sitting outside, twiddling our thumbs, screaming, "Let me in!" But alas, that's besides the point. Let's get back into what the real topic is here. Meeting Lady Iceheart, who was a vessel for the primal Shiva, alongside the dragon Midgard Sormr. We learn that she's not necessarily our enemy, but instead is insistent on ending this war of man versus dragon, as it has gone on way too long, with too many dragons and too many humans losing their lives over nothing more than hate. It's time to bring peace between Ishgard and the Dravanians. But before those matters can get put into motion, Alphinaud and your companions are accused of dissidence by the Archbishop himself. Oh lord. Alphinaud, what the heck did you get your dumb face into this time?
You're an idiot. This needs to stop. Now.
Not willing to let Tataru be imprisoned or worse, you decide to take up arms in a series of combat-styled matches for Alphinaud and Tataru's freedom. More so Tataru for me. I've always loved her, she's great. But Alphinaud? Y'all can keep his whiny emo self because at this point in the game, he's even more annoying and a crybaby than he was in A Realm Reborn. Upon defeating these trash HEAVENSWARD knights, you're brought to the big boy himself, the Archbishop of Ishgard. It is here where you learn about the plot that he's been putting together that involves working directly with the Ascians to help him in the ongoing war. When confronted about this, he pulls the "dude, bro, trust me" card when he says that he's going to betray the Ascians once he gets what he needs. Yeah, no, old man, you look evil as all heck. I don't buy that story for one single minute. After listening to his ramble, you decide you have far more pressing matters to attend to and are on your way. Shortly hereafter, when you enact a plot to save Raban successfully, after the coup that took place at the end of Realm Reborn, you hear of the war beginning to ramp up again, and you feel the only way to stop any bloodshed would be to seek out Lady Iceheart once more. But instead, you are approached by the returning hero of Ishgard, Estinian, who is a powerful dragoon that is capable of slaying dragons. He offers to help you on this endeavor, and you, Alphinaud, and Estinian set out to see what can be done. Early on, I didn't get the hype behind him. He's cool, don't get me wrong, but at first, I didn't exactly warm up to him just yet. As your investigation ramps up, you have a reunion with Lady Iceheart. Learn that the mighty dragon Nidhogg is leading the Dravanian armies. The history of the Dragon Song War that brought peace between Ishgard and the dragons for hundreds of years. Find solace in knowing that the Sultana of Ul'dah, whose death you were wrongly blamed for, was merely given sleeping pills and not poison, in order to fake her death in a ruse to weed out all the people unloyal to her, and also being surprised to learn that the Garlean Empire are up to their no-good tricks once again, and scarily enough, they are rumored to have built another airship with the means of attacking the nations of Eorzea once more. Man, these guys just don't give up, do they? I've literally beaten all of their major journals with their Power Ranger knockoff-looking selves, but alright, bring it, fellas. However, before you can do anything to stop it, trouble brews and Nidhogg, the legendary dragon, has begun his attack. Now joined by Estinian and Alphinaud, you enter a grueling battle to bring him to his knees. Which you do, of course. Duh, you're the hero. Using the power of Nidhogg's Eye, we weaken him and defeat him. I know that sounds very weird. It sort of reminds me of Sasuke and Itachi when everyone was trying to take each other's eyeballs out in Naruto. After the defeat of Nidhogg, you receive a vision of past events and find out that the church is the one who manipulated Ishgardians all these years for their own benefit. Countless lives have been lost, and the Archbishop knew everything, and plans to escape to an ancient Allegan civilization to merge with 3 astral primals to become
An ultimate being with ultimate power.
Old man, the only thing you're gonna need is a dirt nap. But before you can make an arrest on the bishop, an assassin intervenes to kill the Warriors of Light. But at the very last minute, your friend, Horsefant, dives in front of you to block the energy attack to save your life. But ultimately, his shield was not strong enough to stop the blast, and he falls.
Oh, poop.
With his last words bringing some comfort to you during your sadness, you know now that the bishop must be stopped at all costs, for Horsefant and for all of Eorzea. This was actually the first death in the series that got to me. This guy was so loyal, so friendly. You get super connected to him because of his personality, and then bam, just like that, he's gone. It's a really depressing moment. However, that just angered me more going into the final battles ahead. It's now time to confront Bishop Thordan and take butt and kick names. Wait, that's not right.
Oh my god. You're an idiot.
The battle with Thordan can actually be pretty tricky at first. Lots of flashes, explosions, positioning, and basically you just pay the heck attention to your surroundings. Kind of reminds me a bit of the Knights of the Round Summon with all the knights fighting at his side. With the old geezer finally vanquished, you as the Warriors of Light head back to Ishgard with Midgardsormr and Alphinaud, and finally bring peace for now between the Dravanians and the people of Ishgard. And finally, under Sir Emric's leadership, will Ishgard finally aid the Eorzea Alliance in battle, thus bringing an end to the Heavensward expansion. Well, that was a lot to talk about, but it's such a great story. It has betrayal, love, friendship, redemption, the loss of Horsefant, and even good little Papa Lemo as he sacrifices his life by sealing away a primal-like monster to save his friends. It's simply fantastic. But what of the new or current content? There's obviously more to do right. Well, duh, obviously. New expansion equals new areas, new jobs, new features, some of which I haven't talked about previously that were also present in A Realm Reborn. As you explore the chilling icy landscapes of Falcon's Nest and Korthus, the gorgeous scenery of Camp Cloudtop and the Sea of Clouds, with its floating islands inhabited by bird-like monsters named Vundu, who remind me of Yaguda from Final Fantasy XI, the mountainous cliffs of Tailfeather and the Dravanian Forelands and Hunterlands, where the ominous Alexander resides, who actually has his own set of dungeons, finding the silly, squishy Mog Marshmallow friends in the churning mists, and discovering the machine and tech-driven land of Azisla. There's just so many new areas to discover. Walking around these vast areas can actually seem like a bit of a daunting task, trust me. But luckily that, along with new and more expansive areas, a much-needed feature is bestowed upon us: flying. In order to unlock this feature though, you must complete the main scenario quests, side quests, or find ether currents hidden around the landscape in order to gain current speed for on foot when running. And when all of them are collected, you will gain the ability to fly over your terrain. This task of collecting takes place in every expansion except A Realm Reborn, because it was later patched in to allow you to fly anywhere in that version of the game, after just beating the main storyline. So that's pretty cool. Man, that's a lot. But hang on, don't go anywhere. We got one major feature to talk about. Well, a few, but they're key to your experience in A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, and all expansions going forward. So let's not dilly-dally shilly-shally and get right to it.
Dilly-dally shilly-shally.
Alongside the 3 new jobs of Astrologian, a healer that can provide damage buffs to the party, Machinist, your new physical range DPS to go alongside Bard and Dancer, you will also be able to take part in 18 dungeons, 14 trials, and multiple raids. I'll dive into some of them briefly before we wrap up this expansion.
Boy, oh boy.
The price of freedom is steep. Freedom here in this case meaning your own personal freedom from being sucked into this game, because once it's gotten its claws dug deep into you, it won't let go. Through your story mode playthrough, either by advancing through it straightforward or finding side quests related to it, you will be able to take part in roughly 18 dungeons as I just mentioned. With memorable dungeons like the gloomy Frozen Dusk Vigil, a magical Harry Potter-like library with the Great Gubal Library, a lush green island of Hullbreaker Isle, where you get to fight King Kong after his loss to Godzilla, or as Bubbles from the Trailer Park Boys says,
It's Sam Squam Tricky.
so many dungeons to choose from that all have varying mechanics to their boss fights that make them all unique. But the real in-game bread and butter has to be the trial fights, extreme trial fights, and raiding. Yes, I know there's Savage level content, but let's just stick to the basics for now. Not being entirely exclusive to Heavensward, raiding, trials, and X-Trials are prevalent in every expansion, including A Realm Reborn. For instance, in A Realm Reborn, you take part in a raid where you uncover the mystery of what really happened the day Bahamut attacked and Luiswa lost his life, and let me tell you, it's some Dragon Ball Z level stuff. Only without Krillin dying for the 20th time, so the Baldi is safe this time at least. Now here in Heavensward, you have 14 trials total, 7 regular trials that are either tied to the main story mode or unlockable side content, 7 extreme trials that unlock after completing normal trials that change enemy attack movesets, rotations, harder mechanics, and have a chance to drop rare gear and exclusive mounts. Some trials being harder than others, of course, with extremely fun tests of strength, like Thok as Thok, where you fight the 4 sword-wielding Primal Ravana, take to the skies in Limitless Blue as you battle the Primal of the Skies, Bismarck, or walk towards the final steps of faith as you stand up and face the almighty dragon Nidhogg. I can't tell you how many times I've raged with some of these. Either party not doing mechanics right for Ravana and wiping, or people stealing the mount drop for Bismarck. I definitely needed a Snickers, cause I'm not myself when I'm hungry. But enough about my anger issues. We could be here all day with that. What about raiding? Is this in-game and post-game content worth trying out? Will it keep you entertained long after your journey is done? Well, yes, depending on the type of player you are. Here in Final Fantasy XIV, you're able to take part in raiding groups that involve either you and 7 other players grouping together to take on normal raids, or join multiple groups of 8 players known as Alliance raids. There are Savage raids, but those are more for the in-game hardcore player who love the thrill of a challenge, and not for newcomers at all. It's not a very welcoming place. Before even thinking about heading into a raid, it's best to have a good chunk of time set up, because some normal raids and even Alliance raids can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 40 minutes plus, should you constantly wipe the floor with your face. While I won't name every single raid there is, because, well, there's a ton to talk about, I would like to make focus of raids involving climbing inside the gigantic machine of Alexander and completing a series of dungeons set inside him. Alexander can be seen out in the open over the Dravanian hinterlands, and man oh man, is he awesome looking. Probably one of my favorite areas of Heavensward. Then it's not to be outdone by adventuring and exploring the ruins of the Forgotten City Mach. I noticed that a lot of people don't necessarily like this one, but I've always loved its level design and variety. Guess I'm just a cool cat, right, Derek Savage? Kudos to the people who even get that one.
That's right! It is time to pick up the Cool Cat Convertible! Yay!
Heavensward is the first expansion in an MMO that companies dream of. From engaging story, characters coming to the realization that they don't know everything and their actions can get people killed, betrayals, sacrifice, escalation of world threats, lush new environments, brand new jobs, more lore of the world, in-game content that can keep you satisfied for weeks to come. It's not perfect with some slight story deviations here and there, like in A Realm Reborn, but not nearly as tedious here. All in all, it's a great start and the ball is rolling fast for Square-Enix. At least, until Stormblood. Uh-oh. Verdict, great.